Guys, when I first started doing sales back in 2013, all the training I got when I first started was they're like, okay, here's this guy, his name's Curtis. You're gonna go and you're gonna follow him for one day. You're gonna put on a shirt, you're gonna put on a little tag, and you're gonna watch what he does. And by the way, here's some sales videos. You can watch some of these pitches, whatever. So I went and I followed this guy for a day. One day he got 2 deals. I was like, oh, this ain't that hard. They gave me a freaking piece of paper that was laminated that showed like the security camera and the little panel and the door sensors. And then I learned a basic 4-step pitch. That's the training that I had. And then they were like, okay, good luck. And I was actually in Yucca Valley, Yucaipa, that area in California, and they just cut me loose, man. They just fed me to the wolves. And that was what I had, is I had a 4-step pitch. I had a laminated piece of paper with a picture of equipment. I didn't have an iPad, and I had a couple of contracts inside of a binder and a couple pens that said Vivint on the side. Okay, that was all I had. And I knocked doors and I knocked doors and I knocked doors and I knocked doors. I got a lot of no's and I got a lot of FUs and I got a lot of get off my porch. I got a lot, we're not interested. I got a lot of freaking hard no's. But guess what? I knocked enough doors that the numbers worked out. I came across enough laydowns, some people that were going to buy this for me or the next guy, the next guy, the next guy. I just knocked enough doors, sheer freaking will. And it worked. And I got deals and I was like the top, guy of my class, and I was having success, but I got frustrated my very first week. So I did a couple deals and then we went out to Bentonville, Arkansas, and I had like 15 deals that I had gotten in Utah and California. So I was like, I'm going to crush it this summer. 150 sales, I'm going to make $100,000, blah, 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 blah. And my very first 2 days, they dropped me off in this area and I got 0 deals the first day. I got 0 deals the second day. And I go home. I remember this very, very clearly. And we call it a bagel. First day bagel, second day bagel. And keep in mind, my wife's pregnant. I had just quit working for my dad, which wasn't a lot of money, but it was a steady income. We'd closed down our apartment. We'd put everything we owned fit into a little Honda Civic, and I'd moved her out there. Keep in mind, my dad told me this is a scam. This isn't going to be real. You're not going to get paid. So I got that in the back of my head. And my very first 2 days out there, and I'm telling my wife, I'm going to crush it. I'm going to make a lot of money. Just trust me, trust me, trust me. And by the way, right when we get there, we had to go buy all our stuff at Walmart and our shower curtain and our towels and our we spent like $300, and $300 was a lot of money for me at the time. And I remember freaking out going, dude, what is going on? And I wanted to blame everyone. I wanted to blame the area. I wanted to blame the managers. I wanted to blame freaking Bentonville, Arkansas. I wanted to blame, this is a safe neighborhood. I wanted to blame every single person. Third day I go out, knock the entire day, I shit you not. And I finally knock on this door and this lady answers and she's super interested, but she's not really interested in getting security. She's interested because the stupid security panel has a tornado alert on it. Really dumb, but she really wanted this tornado alert because in Bentonville, Arkansas, there's like tornado warning. She wanted this thing, man. Her husband was not feeling it. Dude was like in and out 4 times and just, smoking cigarettes, just nervous as can be because his wife wants it. I'm kind of pushing for it. I'm desperate to get a deal. And finally, she's like, look, it's up to him because I'm not going to get into a fight when you leave because I said yes. I want it. He doesn't. Go talk to him. And I remember I freaking took this like 55-year-old dude outside, 60-year-old. I'm like, dude, let's talk. Go in the garage. And I was just like, bro, your wife wants this, dude. And I freaking just laid it on thick. And I gave him everything I got. And I'm like, imagine if this just gave her peace of mind. And do you care about your wife? And all this different stuff. And anyway, long story short, this guy agrees. He agrees to get the thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, thank goodness, right? I go, we run his credit, and he becomes back a mid, which by the way, a mid is like the company will barely fund this guy. They're like not interested because he's probably not going to pay his bill. So I lose like $200 on the sale. So basically I'm not making any money on this deal. I'm making a couple $100, but I'm like, I just need a deal. Anyway, I ended up slamming this deal through. First 3 days, I got one crappy, dirty deal. Like it'd be the equivalent of you guys going and having a lead gen site that's producing quite a few leads and you sell it for like $300 a month just because you need to get that money coming in. And that's my first 3 days. And I'm like, dude, this is going to be tough, dude. I thought I was just going to slay it. I had 17 sales or 15 sales. I think it was 17. I'm going to slay it. And that was how my first 3 days went. So this is where everything changed for me is my manager at the time, he came in and he did this training. And this is what I want to share with you guys. He talked about something that he said, he's like, do you guys know exactly what your sales process looks like? And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, have you mapped your flow? That's the term that he used. Have you mapped your flow? I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? And he went on and he explained, he's like, when I knock on the door, I know exactly how many times I'm going to knock. As soon as I knock, I step back. I know exactly how many steps back I'm going to step. I know exactly if the screen door opens this way where I'm going to stand. I know exactly what I'm going to show them. Obviously, I know what I'm going to say. I know exactly what, at the moment I'm going to transition into the house. If they say this, I'm going in, right? I'm not going to force my way in, but I know exactly how to get in the house. And then he's like, once I get in the house, I know exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go here, then I'm gonna go here, and I'm gonna go here, and then we're gonna come back here. And he's like, I know exactly from the moment I knock on that door until I walk out of that house and the technician arrives to slam a hole in their wall to install that equipment. I know exactly to a T what I'm gonna do. And he's like, I challenge you guys to do the same thing. And so I sat down with a piece of paper and I did just that. I did what's called map your flow. I'm gonna challenge you guys to do this with your sales process. And I did that exact same thing. So I would go and I would have exactly how I would knock. Boom, I would knock the door, I would step back, and I'd have one of three little stupid things that I would say. Sometimes, you know, I realized that people would be like, oh, I'm not interested. So I would start to catch them. I'd be like, hey, don't worry, I'm not the magazine guy, whatever. And it would ha, ha, ha. And then I would kind of slightly move in and I'd hand them something, right? I'd engage them and I'd have my pitch. As soon as they said something, I would transition into the house. And I knew exactly at the moment I was supposed to transition to the house, I would ask them about their equipment. Hey, you know, that panel that has the keypad, is it the DSC or is it the freaking whatever, and they'd be like, and as they would stall, I'd be like, let me take a look, and I would just kind of like, you know, body motion towards the panel, and they'd open the door up, and boom, I was right in the house. I would literally just like, it was like I was magic, dude. They would let me in the house. The second I would get in the house, I would go over the table. Where's the kitchen table? I'm looking. Hey, do you have a kitchen table? They're like, no, here's the couch. No, we're not doing the couch. Kitchen table's better because I'm gonna write this up for you, right? And the reason why I did that is because I knew if I sat at the couch, it was too casual, right? Business happens at the table, not at the couch. Friends sit at the couch, business happens at the kitchen table. So I'd go sit at the kitchen table and I would make sure that I would sit in the seat one in so they could sit next to me, because I didn't want to sit across from them because it's like we're competitive instead of like we're on the same team. So I would sit in a specific spot every single time. I'd put my binder down, I'd grab my freaking laminated paper, and I would immediately go master bedroom. And I'd go to the master bedroom, and when I got to the master bedroom, I'd show me the window. They show me the window, I'd check it out, and I would tell them a story. I had this specific story that I would tell every single time to build emotion. From the master, I'd go to the other downstairs windows. And then as soon as I checked all that stuff out, then we would sit at the kitchen table. And once we sat at the kitchen table, I would say, okay, check this out. I'm gonna play this 2-minute video. Watch this. Boom. I'd hit a bit. Guys, all the way, I would go through it. I had everything dialed in all the way to the point where I dropped price. Once I dropped price, I would go back through the equipment, and my close was the exact same every time. I had these little cards. We call them qual cards. And all it was their information. And the way that I would close, instead of saying Amex or Visa, I would take that card and I'd go, awesome. Did I miss anything? Got the cameras, got this, boom. Okay, awesome. All I got to do is have you fill this out. We get you started. And I would slide the card right next to me. Boop, like this. I'd slide it across the table and I would put the pen on top and I would sit there and I'd wait like this. I wouldn't say a word. And sometimes it would sit there in silence for a minute. They'd twirl the pen, they'd look around, they'd think, they'd bite their nails. Sometimes they would object immediately. And guess what? More often than not, they'd pick up that damn pen and they'd start writing their name, going right along, freaking just eating right out of my hand. And I knew as soon as they filled that out, I was calling in and I was getting that deal. Once I got the deal, I knew exactly, I wanted to make sure that they were comfortable. I didn't want there to be awkward pauses. I would keep them engaged until the technicians, as soon as they signed it, I was dispatching the technicians. So literally, as soon as I was collecting a void check from them, the technicians were going to be knocking on the door. They were going to be knocking on the door, and I'd go, hey, I got a little surprise for you. And they're like, what? I'm like, you heard of Jimmy John's? They're like, yeah, freaky fast service, right? They're like, haha. I'm like, yeah, your technician's at your front door. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, go open the door. And there would be freaking some technicians with just tatted up, freaking smelling like they just smoked 17 packs of Marlboros, ready to freaking install sensors in their daughter's bedroom, right? At 12 o'clock at night sometimes. To a T, dude. To a T. And so guys, my sales, the reason I'm sharing this with you is I went from the first of the summer where I bageled for the first 2.5 days, got one deal in 3 days, ended the week with like 4 or 5 deals, to consistently doing 8, 9, 12, ended up having an incredible summer and an incredible 4 years because I mapped my flow and I knew exactly what I was going to do.